Enzo Maresca has just got completely outclassed by Mikel Arteta, but the warning signs were already there in pre-season. There were so many issues for Man City today from a tactical point of view that Enzo Maresca hasn't rectified. But let's start this video off by saying Arsenal, Mikel Arteta were brilliant. They got everything spot on, and I think today kind of proved again why they are favourites for the league. But City, the issues that we saw today are nothing new, especially with build-up. Let's talk about the build-up with City, the way they're building up, because it's just going completely wrong. Like I said before, for build-up, City's two centre-backs pull out wide, the full-backs push on, Kovacic, or the main six for City, normally drops deep. But like I said before, a lot of the work in terms of build-up requires Donnarumma to be very, very competent on the ball. Now, I don't really care much about Donnarumma for the goals. He should have done better. We all know that. But playing out from the back is clearly a big weakness in Donnarumma's game. But the way Enzo Maresca is building up right now requires him to be spot on in that aspect. Because he's so important. When Arsenal were pressing today, can Donnarumma finally chip the balls into Nico O'Reilly, for example, who's pushing on? He couldn't. And even when there was times where he found that ball, like I always say, every single pass completed is not the same in terms of the weight of the pass has to be spot on. Is the pass into the player's stride? It wasn't. Donnarumma is causing Man City a lot of issues, and I think this will be very, very prevalent throughout the season. Now let's talk about build up in a bit more of a higher phase in terms of, we saw at times City were building up in the 3-1-6, something very, very common within footballing teams, let's be honest. But the one was very, very interesting in that midfield because it was Mateo Kovacic. And that is something I did say in the last video on Enzo Maresca that I did expect to be the case, because I feel like Enzo Maresca is a really, really big Mateo Kovacic fan. But more importantly, Elliot Anderson's role within that midfield partnership was very, very interesting in terms of he was the one progressing forward in that right half channel. And I've seen a lot of criticism online regarding that, which, to be honest, I understand. But I also think Elliot Anderson is very, very comfortable in those sort of areas in that right channel on the football pitch. We saw it last year for Nottingham Forest. He has a very good strike on him from that sort of area. I understand it. Mateo Kovacic, Elliot Anderson together is a question mark. But that partnership today, in terms of the profiling, I understood, even though it didn't work out. Now, another big issue for Man City currently is the technical quality. Today, City had a right-hand side of Semenyo playing right wing, Elliot Anderson in that little right channels, and Kusanov a right back with Ruben Dias right centre-back. Now, I'm big fans of all four of those players. I think all four of them agree. But the technical level in terms of what City are probably used to in the past is a big, big drop-off. In terms of, even last season, City had the likes of Bernardo Silva in those channels. Mateus Nunes, who obviously still can come back in those areas. Even John Stones in the past, Rodri, technically gifted players. The drop-off that we're seeing right now is quite big, and that's another reason why I think sometimes City have to think about it now. Go up your technical quality. That will help you progress play because they're clearly struggling in that aspect. Now, another big issue that I highlighted in the last video was the press by Man City in terms of, we saw the same flaws today in terms of City obviously won and press in that 4-2-4 shape. You guys can see the picture on the screen here. The wingers push on, Foden pushes on next to Haaland. But then, like I said before, it requires the fullbacks to push on and to commit. And again today, we're seeing it with quite a lot of sides right now. The fullbacks are just not committing and jumping at the correct times, which obviously leaves holes. And I think Arsenal done a very, very good job at exploiting that at times. Now, the problem for Man City today is Arsenal's technical quality is so high in terms of they can play those 1-2 passes where they played out the press. And they've done that very, very well today, Arsenal. Enzo Maresca has to think about. And I also don't think that midfield helps in terms of Mateo Kovacic, as much as we praise him on the ball, he's a bit of a hologram defensively in terms of he's not the most mobile of players. Elliot Anderson obviously is, but it's just something that Enzo Maresca has to think about in terms of how his players are pushing on for the press. Now, another thing I really want to talk about today is Kusanov, because he was so disappointing. But some of the flaws that we saw today are nothing new. In terms of, you guys saw the second goal Arsenal scored, for example. The ball comes in, Kusanov, slow to react, literally ball watching. As soon as the ball comes in, then he decides to move. And all of a sudden, you guys know at the top level is too late. Arsenal players' movements are very, very good. And he got punished. And this is something Kusanov needs to know. He's a brilliant athlete in terms of, if there's a foot race, more than likely, he's going to catch you. But how can you be smarter in your defending to make sure you're not even reaching top speed every single time? He has to think about it. Because again, today, that aspect of his game really, really let him down. But overall for Manchester City, not a good performance. So many flaws, which I think some of them are down to personnel, which listen, City's recruitment over the next 2 to 3 weeks, however long left in the window, has to improve. Buildup, for example, they've been linked with him, I think helps certain aspects of City's game today. Let's see what City do, because again, very, very disappointing today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down below what you thought of the game.